Hey everybody, hopefully the lighting's not too bad, we're gonna see. But I came back to do part 2 of my intro to me. I had to go back and look at where I left off, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And so I decided that I like the setting, because I've just been getting stuff together. When I'm home, I've just been trying to get my house in order, get my, be comfortable. So this is where I spend most of my time when I'm home, so it makes sense. So anyway, cleaning up a little bit. Let me jump. Let's see if we can, sorry, I was all in y'all's face. But anyway, hey, welcome back. If you're here because of part 1, I hope you don't mind long stories. This is my story. If it's not for you, then no problem. This is my story, and I'm not doing this for any other reason than it's just therapeutic to me, and it might help somebody. Maybe not, but it's helping me. So I just got my Ipsy bag, so I'm putting that stuff up and then we can talk. So anyway, you guys, I'm on the juice fast. This is day 2 of day 3 for cultured juices. It's not easy, but I'm hanging in there. So way past my time to drink, but I'm doing it. So all right, so I believe the last part that I left off was me talking about when we were staying together. Well, he was in and out, and how he didn't like me communicating with other people, and that's when he became really controlling. And to backtrack a little bit, I don't know which part. I'm just like, if you guys have any questions, you can leave them and I'll answer them to the best of my capabilities. But I do want to say that there was a big shift in his character, a huge shift. I'm not saying he wasn't always like controlling, but there was a huge shift in his character when his mother passed away. His mother passed away, and after that, he completely changed. He went from, to just absolutely domineering, controlling, and yeah, that's what it was. So when his mother had passed away, he went back home. And if I didn't state it in the previous video, he is from Africa. And so he went back home to bury his mother. He's Muslim, so they had to bury the mother right away. So he went back home immediately to bury his mother and to get things in order. And when he came back, mind you, when he went out there, he couldn't stay for long. I believe, like, the Muslim faith, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to bury them right away, and then 40 days later it's something else, like something around there. But I know he wasn't there long enough to stay for the 40 days. He wasn't able to, but he was out there for a couple of weeks. So even though things were really contentious between the two of us, that put a pause on it, and it took a back seat. Our issues took a back seat to making sure he was okay, because to lose your mother, I can only imagine. I have both my parents. I've lost, close family members, an uncle and, a grandmother and stuff, but which is hard enough. So I can only imagine what it's like to lose a parent. So that took a back seat to whatever our problems were. And yeah, I wish I would have never gave in to any of that, because everything became his way or the highway after that. So it was all bets off. He had to stay in the Bronx. You know, there was no more coming out to Queens helping me with these children. There was no more of that. I had to figure things out on my own, and I was traveling to the Bronx taking care of him, you know, whatever that meant looking like. I would go over there, get groceries, cook over there. We start spending more time over there, like the weekends and stuff, because like I said, I worked and everything. So but I would start spending more and more time over there. And if anybody knows what these are, I would appreciate any tips, tricks. So and it's like once I gave into that, then everything took a change, or turn for the worse. And me making excuses, thinking that because he's mourning, that's the reason for his attitude. And mind you, my brother was still staying with me at the moment, and I started having issues with my brother. Not gonna lie, start having issues with my brother. Nothing too serious, but and I love you, bro, and I'm so sorry if you see this like this, because I'm not sure if he was aware. I'm sure he felt it, but I never said anything. But it was starting to get hard having him in the house, not really working and contributing. Something I didn't think would bother me, but it was bothering me. So and also, to be quite honest with you, having somebody there to see firsthand what me and his relationship was like, because all my family is out of state, so I was able to hide it really well. And, you know, he's there, so he knows. You know, I started getting calls from my dad and everything, like, you okay? What's going on? And stuff like that. So, one day, he came to the house to stay for the weekend. It was my son's graduation from kindergarten. A huge deal for me, and a huge deal for him, because unfortunately, because of the circumstances, you know, like he had been in a couple of schools at this point. So I was just really, really proud of him, and I wanted to celebrate him. And, you know, dad was there. We were all supposed to, you know, his dad, my brother, we were all supposed to go celebrate him. And he picked a fight. I'll never forget this. I'll never forget that day. He was dragging his feet. He was dragging his feet, and me and him had to go together because they only gave us 2 tickets. My brother took a ticket and I had 1, so I was gonna, you know, do my little spiel, my little talk about why he should be able to come in. So we had to go together. And so my brother was like, I'm leaving. You guys are taking too long. He's dragging his feet. I'm not missing my nephew's graduation. Bye. So we finally make it out the house, and the school's right behind my building, right behind the building. So as we're walking around the corner, he picked a fight. Couldn't tell you what the fight was about. And he said, you know what? F this, I'm leaving. And I said, you're gonna miss your son's graduation because of an argument? And I said, if you miss his graduation, don't come back. That was the first time I think I've ever said don't come back out of my mouth. We had arguments before, but I believe that was the first time where I was just like, do not come back. If you miss this, do not, because it was serious to me. And he left. Fast forward, round, around. We've had plenty of back and forth. He did try to come back, and I stood my ground. He's like, you're not coming back. Lots of arguments and blocking him, and then he resorted to emails and all kinds of stupid stuff. And one day he got hold of me, and he said he wanted to talk, and he really wanted to sit down and have a conversation and talk and work things out. So, okay, I let him come back. We talked. We had a really, what I thought was a really good conversation. We talked about, you know, he's mourning and what he's going through and how much he loves me and he just wants to be a better person and all the things that I wanted to hear. And he stayed the night. I remember thinking in the back of my head, I felt like he had something more to say, but I didn't want to push it. I felt like he had something more to say. So the next day he got up, he had to go to work. So he got up and I'll never forget. Everybody was gone out the house. The kids were at school. Remember where my brother was. And he said, sit down, I have to talk to you. And he said, when I talk to you, I don't want you to be upset. Promise me you're not going to be upset. And I said, I can't promise you I'm not going to be upset. What do you mean? You know, I can't promise you that. I can promise that I'm not going to fight or anything like that. I can promise you that, but I can't promise you I'm not going to be upset. I can promise you that I won't escalate it in the sense like I'm not going to do any yelling or anything. You can tell me anything in this place right now and I won't yell. That's as far as that's what I can promise. And he said, I have a wife. And I want you guys, when I say my heart dropped, even telling the story right now, those emotions are starting to come back. So he said, I have a wife back home that I married while me and him were together. While we were together, he got married. He went back home. One of the times he went back home by himself, he had gotten married. And I said, okay. You know, I said, okay, I can work with that. You're going to leave. You're going to leave her. I was saying a lot of stuff, but I do remember saying you're going to leave her and we'll work it out. And that's fine. That's fine. Oh, and side note, sorry, by this time, I was pregnant. By this time I was pregnant. It was the end of 2019. I was pregnant. I had just announced it to my family and everything like that. So, yeah. So, he said, like, he did this, and he said, and I have a son. You guys, I lost it. That guttural cry that you hear like people talk about, you know, you're like, oh, you don't even remember that guttural cry. I remember completely breaking down. Like, I don't even think I made a human noise, you know. It was so bad that I even scared him, you know. I scared him. I remember he called his uncle and he was like, oh my God, like he thought he was gonna have to take me to the hospital. And I was just like, don't touch me. I can't believe it. How old is the son? Now I'm asking, you know, more questions. I'm like, how old is the son? And da-da-da. And when he told me how old his son was, I put two and two together. When you went back home to bury your mother, you created a child. You created a child, a whole human being. Now, what I thought for this marriage, which was going to be so easy, you can separate and da-da-da-da-da, you're tied to this person. You're tied to her forever, you know? So, I cried so hard, so long. I remember he had to leave, you know, he had to go to work. And I wanted him to leave anyway. And then I couldn't go pick up my kids from school. My boys, I couldn't even go pick them up from school. I called my friend Shashay. I called her. And I remember she dropped everything and she came right away. And I live on the 4th floor, walk up, and she carried her 2 kids up the stairs and she was like, what is going on? And we cried together. She felt so bad for me because she knew I was pregnant. She knew the stuff between me and him a little bit, you know what I mean? She knew that there was back and forth between me and him. And yeah, she knew that was just hard to, and she kept telling me, honey, I'm gonna go get the kids, you're gonna have to calm down. You're gonna lose this baby. The way you're crying, you're going to lose this baby. You have to calm down. And before the kids get here, you have to get yourself together before the kids get here. So she's like, I'm gonna help you, calm down. She went to get the kids. I'm sure she helped. I think she helped. Honestly, that day is like a blur after that. And to be honest, it was quite a blur a couple of days after that. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what I did and what I didn't do. I couldn't tell you. Could not tell you at all. I do know that I turned my phone off. I didn't want anything to do with him at that point in time. I didn't want anything to do with him. And I contemplated abortion. I'm not gonna lie. Full disclosure, absolutely considered abortion. It was just like, I'd already told my family at this point. And then it was like, okay, if you have an abortion, you still got to deal with him. He's going to have to take you to the, help you with these kids and da da da. And I was so far along at that point in time. I was like 4 months, and I was like, realistically, I know it crossed my mind. That's why I'm saying full disclosure, but realistically, I knew that I wasn't going to have an abortion. I couldn't at that point in time. I was too far along. And I know people do have them for many reasons, and to each his own. I just know for me, at being that far along, 4 or 5 months along, that I couldn't do it. So his family was calling me, and once he realized, sorry guys, I got something in my eye. Once he realized that I didn't want to talk to him, instead of giving me the space that I really needed, I really needed space and time to myself. And you guys, I had gotten so far away from God at this point in my life. I didn't even pray. I didn't even think to pray. I know it was like, oh God, why me? But I did not think to pray. So I was just sitting in my bubble feeling sorry for myself. And he started leaving me voicemails, because even though you block somebody, they can still leave you a voicemail. Call me private, leave me voicemails or whatever. And he started leaving nasty voicemails like, oh, if that's how you feel, then you should just have an abortion. I don't want another effing kid with you anyway, da 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 da, And then on top of that, his family's calling, oh, Sasha, you gotta understand, we're Muslim, and da 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 da. You're Muslim? Yes, you're Muslim. I understand this, but these are conversations that me and him had prior about this. I had a conversation. I felt like I did my due diligence. I had a conversation with him about him being Muslim and taking on multiple wives and how he felt about that. And he was completely against it because his father had an outside child with another woman. You know what I mean? There was a whole story that he gave me about why this and why that. And mind you, we had been together for years. So it was like, I never got any inclination that, I never thought in a million years that this man had somebody else back home. I had been there around his family and everything. So I was clueless. So anyway, before this gets too long, because I'm already at 20 minutes. So he started being really nasty. His family, sorry guys. His family at this point in time I don't care what anybody calls it, they start harassing me because leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. You guys are not uplifting me, encouraging me. You're just telling me, hey, get over it. We're Muslim. Sorry, I'll listen dry. So, I don't want to hear anything from them. And I didn't want anybody else to know what was going on. So I was just moving through life. And this was in November of 2019. So December comes, December around the Christmas time, even though he's Muslim and everything, I still did Christmas with the kids and stuff. And I believe he came around for Christmas, or I believe at that point in time we started to have contact because of the boys. And it was nothing more to it than that. I was really just hurt, and he said a lot of things but I was just really, really hurt. And we sat down and we finally had a conversation about how to move. Sorry, my battery, it's like my phone in. But we did sit down, we had a conversation about how to move forward, and he gave me a whole story. That's another story to go into about the excuses. I realize now they were just excuses and things to try to keep me along. And we decided to give it a go. Now, we're about to have another kid. I can't do this by myself. And he was gonna do better. He was gonna be around more and blah, blah, blah. So, fast forward, January, February. If anybody remembers, around February, the end of February, shit started to hit the fan with that virus, that everything started going around. It started real small when nobody really realized it was a pandemic, and it was getting close to my son's birthday, and things completely shut down. I'll never forget, on my son's birthday is March 10th. March 10th, we went bowling for his birthday, and it was just like dead, and the schools had already sort of shut down. They were already passing out tablets and stuff. There was like, nobody knew what was going on. So, where I stayed at in this part of Queens is really close to a really large Asian community, and that's where the virus originated from. And this is no hate, no shame, because there's pandemics all over the world, so this is no hate towards anybody. It is what it is. This is the community that I was staying in, really close to it. And this kid's school, like I said, is right behind me, and it was attached to a Catholic church. It was tied to the Catholic church. And when I say people started passing away, like it was just like boom, 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 boom. And then you hear about all these things happening, and it's like, these are people that were at my children's school. These are their teachers, the parishioners that came through the school. These are the staff members that came through, volunteers that came through. They are passing away rapidly. And I'm terrified. I'm pregnant. I'm terrified. It is hard to get, I don't care what anybody says about these people. And when I mean these people, I mean like our little bodegas and stuff like that. Raising the price of water is ridiculous. And it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I couldn't even explain to you guys how ridiculous it was for a gallon of water. And I was like, I'm scared to go outside now. I'm scared to have my children go outside. I'm scared if we've been exposed to anybody. Everybody was there. We were all there during that time. We know how we all felt. And the kid's father, now he can't do the traveling. He can't travel back and forth because the trains are, I live in New York City. It was horrible. Things were shut down. So then the people that work in the everyday that do the trains, the subways and the buses and stuff, people are calling out, passing away, just scared, not showing up to work. So it was hard to get around, and we didn't have a vehicle at the time. And he was like, yo, I just heard so-and-so in your building. My building is like 4 buildings, you know, boom, boom, like in the middle is the empty square space, you know what I mean? So it's 4 buildings. I'm in this building, building C. There's building A, B, C, and D, right? A, B, C, D. I'm in building C. And this building right next to me, so-and-so passed away. What? She passed away? She was a correction officer, you know what I mean? And then so-and-so passed away. What? This person passed away. And it was like, now it's coming into my building, and it's getting closer. It's like building A, and now we're in building B. And I'm like, I live in building C. I gotta go. So packed up what I could, took my kids, and went to the Bronx. It was just like instantaneous. Didn't think twice about it. I gotta move back where this guy is. Jesus, slap me now. Slap me now. So we moved in together, and let's just say I went from living in the penthouse to living in the pig house, okay? And that's not to say like he was disgusting or anything. It's nothing like that. It was just too many damn people in that tiny ass apartment. Too many damn people in that tiny ass apartment. And they weren't going nowhere. They weren't going anywhere. And so now I'm not gonna lie, I was so depressed, because now I go, like I said, from being really comfortable in my space and having all my things and everything to being like jammed in this, and now I'm restricted to just the bedroom. I'm restricted to I can't really do anything, go anywhere else, because somebody's sleeping here, somebody's sleeping here, somebody's sleeping here. It's like, it was a freaking shit show. So, and that's when all his secrets started to come out. So before I get into that will have to be part 3. I'll leave it there when shit really hits the fan. I mean, shit keeps hitting the fan, but like it keeps getting bigger and bigger. So talk about that next.